This Thrive Loud episode is brought to you by Hinge Consulting. Success on Amazon hinges on well-executed strategies. Contact Hinge Consulting to learn about total Amazon channel management and to see if your business has what it takes to grow over 300% over the next 12 months. That's Hinge Consulting at hingeconsulting.co.
I am not kidding when I say there is nothing better than spending a day at the beach. Listening to the sounds of the ocean, the wind blowing through my hair, the sweet smell of seawater. I could stay here for the rest of my life. Couldn't you? Thrive Loud listeners, it is summer and we are ready to thrive. So break out your sunnies and SPF 30, hit the grill, the beach, the pool, the boat, and while you're doing all of this, be sure you are cranking up Thrive Loud. This summer is packed full with 3 to 4 episodes a week, lots of awesome minisodes, and even more celebrities, entrepreneurs, CEOs, you name it, we got it. Make Thrive Loud your ultimate podcast destination all summer long. We promise you will not be disappointed. And stay tuned for new and exciting things coming soon to Thrive Loud.
Get ready to Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. Today on Thrive Loud, we bring you online technology consultant, the truly most focused person on the airwaves today that is talking the tech of business, coming to us from Redmond, Washington. I have none other than the Jaime Slutzky. Jaime, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thanks. The sun is finally shining.
You see, I'm back in the East Coast. We haven't seen sun in about 6 months, and we're really hoping that one day it decides to wake up and get over here. But I'm glad that it's coming this way because everything comes from the west to the east. So we're totally so Jaime and I, we are indirectly related because we are part of the lovely Turnkey podcast network, and we are both hosts of our own shows. And she is a little bit greener than I am into the world of podcast, but she has something that's really cool and great to talk about, and she talks about it all the time. So I want to get a little bit about your journey, Jaime, so you could share with the Thrive Loud community a little about your story, what you're about, what your show's about, and then we'll have fun going back and forth. Does that sound like a plan?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. I am your favorite techie, or soon to be your favorite techie. I am all about making technology work better for people who don't necessarily want technology to work at all. My podcast is called The Tech of Business, and it launched in April. So it's pretty darn new. And what I've done with it is I'm showcasing the technology that people are actually using in their business so that you can find some new technology, maybe make systems work better and things like that in your own business, or go down a new avenue that you haven't explored yet because the tech scared you. And go ahead.
No, I was going to jump in and say, and I'll hear more about it, but is your program an interview program, or are you providing all the knowledge from the latest, what's going on in tech of business, or is it a little bit of both?
It's actually both. I've got 3 formats to the show. The first format, which is probably 2/3 of the episodes, is interviews with business leaders, people who make tech decisions in their companies and in their businesses, mostly small businesses, and just talking about what they're actually using. And then I have solo episodes, which I'm calling deep dive episodes, where we're talking deep dive into a specific topic. Like on my lunch day, I had a deep dive episode on email marketing. And the third type of episode is also an interview, but that's what I'm calling a tech breakthrough. And the tech breakthrough is just a super fun way of helping a listener solve a tech struggle that they might be having. Maybe they're spending 20 minutes on something every single day and they could just have a system in place. So we're going to kind of break down that. Or they're looking for something that might be the next chapter and want to kind of figure out what way to go with their technology. So we're doing that kind of on air and breaking through their tech barrier.
So Jaime, let's rewind a little bit. what makes you this lover of tech and want to communicate this? Can you give us a little bit of a rewind on the history button so we can understand a little bit about your familiarity with all of these technologies and your love of communicating about it?
For sure. So I can take you all the way back to my elementary school library, where my elementary school librarian was the first one in our district to bring computers into the checkout process. And in first grade in the early 80s, I was one of the first people that he taught to sign out books in the library. I went from there to my fourth grade teacher pulling my parents in, saying, she can't spend her whole life in front of the computer, to my parents telling me that story when I graduated with my honors degree in computer science in the late 90s. So I kind of have always lived in front of a computer and been very, very happy here. And I just love making things work because that's just the way my brain works, I guess. So, yeah.
So, and I love this, by the way, because look, Thrive Loud is about those that are thriving in their lives or businesses and their passions. And this seems to be something that you connect with so much. Tell us what sparked or created the idea to say that I want to host a podcast show to help people understand these things. What was the desire? I love computer, I love technology, but I want to tell everyone what to do. Help or what's out there. What inspired the idea of doing a podcast show?
It was really that I do so much in tech that I wanted to share some of the things that I've learned, some of the gotchas. And I love listening to podcasts. I'm a mom and I drive carpool 3 to 4 days a week. So I have a lot of time in the car, getting to the kids and all that stuff. So I listen to a lot of podcasts, and it's just a medium that made a lot of sense for me to put my own voice and my own spin on. And it was a no-brainer talking about technology and some of the tools that I love more than anything else, and being able to showcase how technology can even help people who don't think that they have a technology in their businesses at all, that showcase that it is okay and it's good.
So here's a good question. Look, I'm surrounded by more technology and more processes every day. In fact, I just recently changed a lot of the processes on how guests come on the show and automated a lot of different features so that it makes life a lot easier for the guest and it makes a lot easier for me, the host. What are some of the things that you're seeing today that are what technology tools that are out there that you are really in love with that are making life easier for everyone? And I know that's big, as opposed to just a business thing or something that everybody is using that you're really hot to talk about. Give me some hot topics, and that would be fun to share with the listeners.
Okay, well, so that's a loaded question.
That's what you're going to get here, Jaime, on Thrive Loud. We just load you up with questions like this. So.
Yeah, my brain first went to the website called Zapier. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this or if the audience knows what it is, but it is a tool that you can use to connect every single widget to every other single widget in a user-friendly drag and drop type of way.
So for example, I love it. Yeah, give me an example of how you would use Zapier.
Yeah. So I love it because I can connect my shopping cart system to my course delivery system if I want to use, not use the one that's right in the course system. So, there's lots of shopping carts out there that have bump offers and all sorts of other bells and whistles, but then they don't integrate directly with the course delivery so that you can't actually give the course. So what Zapier does is it zaps that user into the course platform so that they can then have the access that they have purchased. And it makes it so that you could then also add tags to the user as they're making their way through the course in your email marketing system. Because oftentimes your course delivery platform, where you are actually going through the courses, they don't have the granular, hey, congratulations for finishing chapter 2, but they have the tool to tell Zapier, hey, do something when someone finishes chapter 2.
Nice. I like it. So it's like, I feel we're getting to that point where it took long enough for people to pick a a fiefdom, if you would, like a certain type of technology or a certain type of area. And now the whole world is all about making sure they all work and bring together. We've had lots of guests on this show that help connect calendar apps into scheduling or sales, or CRM applications or emails and all of that. I find that, and I love this because I'm all about connecting, but the connector apps are really like the space right now that seems to be the hottest. Do you agree with me, or there's other things that you think are popping up more so than not?
I think that definitely the connector apps make it so that all the new apps aren't working in isolation.
Right.
I mean, you hear about new apps and new websites and new tools coming online all the time. If they have automatically, when they start out, an integration with the connector apps, then they come in and they don't just have their narrow little focus. They can connect to a much larger purpose and be able to serve a lot more people. So I think that's really where I'm seeing things go, is that connection to these connector apps.
Okay, so now I'm going to put on a little bit of my techie hat here and talk about something. I can't tell if it's annoying me yet or it's just at the beginning of getting to where it's starting. We're going to see much more of it. And this is specifically how AI is being incorporated in a lot of the technologies that are out there. For example, I'll give you two examples. I was on a conference call yesterday. It was like a Zoom call meeting. And also in the room were these two, robot voice bots that were listening and recording the conversation and also scheduling things as things were being said. And then I've received emails, or there have been these email applications where someone is saying, "Hey, Lou, can you schedule a certain time?" And of course, this is a robot basically talking to me, and I just would reply back to this regular email, and then eventually an invite would go out. My issues with these is that they're not quite as adept yet to what they should be. I got about 16 different email invites from one of them. The voice recording things were a little bit off, and I know it's early stages, but we're starting to see more of them. What's your thought on these and your experience in dealing with them as well?
Yeah. So my thought on them is it's taken long enough. I think that this is something that, when I was getting my degree back in the 90s, we were talking about artificial intelligence. And back then we were talking a lot about solving problems, using computers to solve chess and to solve different, things like that. And we all thought that it was going to come to this artificial intelligence that we're now starting to see on a regular basis with chatbots and other things like that. The challenge always is for me is it's only as good as the human who's working it. Mm-hmm. So a chatbot or any of these other bots, like you said, if the human didn't do it right, the chatbot's going to send it out 16 times. So the education, I think the technology is fabulous and it's amazing and it's very robust and it can do a lot of great things. But the education on how to use it so that it does all those things really well is lacking. So,
and that's actually,
we'll see.
Yeah, and that's actually a great question. So this is probably, and if it hasn't been a topic on your show, it probably comes across often. And that is, lots of leaders who in organizations, everything happens so quickly. Technology happens so fast. The pace of business happens so quickly. Yet the spread of the people within these organizations and in businesses range from people who are baby boomers out in the generation to what they're calling, I guess, Generation Z, or even, the globals has been the new term for those that are like just in college. And that whole range from millennials and boomers and Xers, whatever things they have. Everyone has their experience and what they're used to. And how they get brought up to speed in a technology that caters to all of them is also a challenge. Is this stuff that you're seeing, or how are businesses, what are some of the ways that businesses are trying to handle different people's familiarities with all the emerging technology that's coming out there?
Not well.
I'm liking your podcast show because I'm all about being brief, bright, and gone. And you're just, nope, not well, not good. Straight to the
point. No, what I think is that every piece of technology and every solution out there has their early adopters, they have their mid adopters, they have their slow adopters. And what you're finding is that the developers, and this is why I'm not a developer, why I'm an integration specialist, and why I make technology work, is because the developers work to communicate with people like me, who can just pick it up off the shelf, virtual shelf, of course, because we don't actually go into computer stores anymore. I remember going into those stores where you could find those boxes. I'm dating myself and stuff, but you take it off the shelf and you say, I want to use it. And then it comes with maybe 3 sentences of install and follow the on-screen guide. If that's not sufficient because you're not at that expert level or being able to dig beneath the surface, then you need to hire somebody or have a consultation or other things. So I think a lot of times these technologies are coming out with the opportunity for people like me to just jump in and become an expert in that domain and share it all, because you're not going to have the fastest adoption by anybody other than the people who are into technology for the most part. When it comes to things transferring from, bleeding edge to mainstream, then you're going to have had a bunch of blogs and podcasts and webinars and this, that, whatever, that act as supplementary information and helping people learn how to use them and what they should be using them for.
Jaime, what's your main goal for the Tech of Business? What do you want the podcast show to be for its listeners?
I want it to open eyes to opportunities of what kind of technology you can actually use and what's out there, and to take off the blinders so that you don't have to be scared of it. That's really what it's all about, is tech doesn't have to be scary. Mm-hmm. Tech can help and it can improve and it can inspire you to do more and have a greater impact in your community and in your business and in your industry. I love technology and I love it when people use it to their benefit. And that's really the mission behind the podcast. And of course, it's also to showcase some of the great things that I love to do with technology. I'd be remiss to say anything other than that.
I think there's a great opportunity. I'll tell you this. I've had lots of CEOs of some pretty cool companies focused on some of the most emerging technologies, and what it's nice to hear their story, hear their journey, but also hear how passionate they are about helping people. And it's really great to see, like, some people say, I want to invent something cool, or I want to invent something that makes a lot of money. What I've really found is the companies that seem to be succeeded the most are ones that are doing a phenomenal job of helping people. So kudos to you in helping to connect us to that message alone, and helping people not to get scared and overcome their fears to be able to deploy and use the best of what technology can be. So yay. Go, Jaime. I'm giving.
Well, thank you.
So here's a question. I know a little bit about you. Let's see. So you live obviously in the Pacific Northwest. You have a family. You do lots of carpools. You've got lots of things going on, because we talked about all the things that you do as it relates to your life. And you're a pretty upbeat person and have a great program on the podcast world. Here's my question. When Jaime Slutzky has trouble thriving, who does she turn to get back on the thriving track?
Ooh, that's a good question. I turn to, who do I turn to? Sometimes I turn to my workouts. Okay. Sometimes I turn to my longtime friends. I've got a couple of friends from college that I will call up every once in a while. We probably talk to each other once or twice a year. I sometimes I'll go to retail therapy or just change a venue.
That's the best answer I've ever heard. Retail therapy. I'm going shopping.
And I don't necessarily shop, but I love to window shop. Sometimes it's just really the change of venue. I don't have that tight-knit group of people who just boost me up that I can turn to on a dime. I just kind of weave in and out of things. And sometimes it's more a matter of closing my laptop and opening a book. And so that's where I kind of rejuvenate and stuff like that. But I really don't go to a person or a place or a thing to necessarily thrive again.
I like it. I like the plus though that you have got your own way of dealing with it. Shutting the laptop down was a good one too. To something which has been tough because you've been in front of the screen your whole life, as you said, all the way from the third grade. So, a real challenge in that. So Jaime, here's a good question for you. Where do you see the Tech of Business podcast show going? If you had your magic wand and could wave it right now, what would you see the ideal vision of what this program will be for you?
Well, Lou, this is a good question since we're not that far into the podcast right now, but I have had, ever since I left working corporate IT in 2011, I've had the dream that when my kids are off in college, that I will be able to travel and share about technology from the stage. So I think it's kind of starting to lay the foundations of that. My kids are in third grade and sixth grade, so I still have a while before that, but I think that it's going to be paving the way for those opportunities.
Oh, I like it. All right. So Jaime, give the Thrive Aloud community all the places where they could learn about the program, learn about you, everywhere from online to anything else you want to know or any events that you have on the calendar so the Thrive Aloud community can connect with you.
Well, I appreciate that so much. So the website for the podcast is techofbusiness.com, which is hard to believe that was available. But it's techofbusiness.com. And that's really where you'll find the podcast episodes. And of course, you'll find them on any major podcast app as well. My passion of what I do for my clients is I produce virtual summits, and you can find me over at virtualsummittech.com. And I help other people who are creating online learning or e-learning courses. And I do that with the Thinkific platform. And I do that under simplyjaime.com. So I'm kind of all over the place. My handles on social media are either Virtual Summit Tech or Simply Jaime. So it's kind of all over the place, but it's good. So Instagram is Virtual Summit Tech, and Facebook's Virtual Summit Tech.
So you had
but Twitter,
you had Tech of Business from the URL. It was a matter of getting it everywhere else that would have been a challenge.
Yeah. I'm going to hopefully before the end of 2018 have everything fall under Tech of Business. But right now everything's all over the place while I establish the podcast, establish its dominance, and figure out how I want to structure things. But my big things that I do with my clients is their virtual summits and their online learning. So those are the places you can find me.
Awesome. Jaime Slutzky, I know you were fretting about this question before we started doing it, but what is your all-time favorite movie?
My all-time favorite movie. That is such a funny question because I don't crave movies. Like, I just don't watch them at all. When I was a little girl, I guess probably like middle school, high school age, I would probably have said that my movie at that time was Beaches. And that was like that Bette Midler movie way back in the day. And now pretty much I will watch whatever my husband says, hey, watch this with me.
Okay.
So I really don't have an answer, but that's the only answer I could come up with.
Well, I think every movie is unique to every single individual. And that's what we like about it. That's the authentic component of what it is. So there you go. I like it. I was waiting to hear that it was going to be like War Games or something like that, but you're like, that might have been before your time too.
No.
Anyway, well, very excited to have Tech of Business up and running. Even more excited, I want to make sure that all the show notes are out there so that all the Thrive Aloud listeners know where to find you and get a chance to hear your show as well. I'm tuning in because I got to tell you, I have tech questions every single day, so I want to hear the latest and greatest, and I can't wait to hear more about it. And can't thank you enough for coming on the show. This has been awesome and a lot of fun.
Well, I'm really honored to have been invited onto the show, so thank you very, very much.
No, totally my pleasure, and very excited, and best of luck to you and the program. And
thank you.
You're welcome. And to all the Thrive Loud listeners out there, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. And follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Thrive Loud. Or find us on the web at thriveloud.com.